Hi, I'm Claudio. I'm a runner, an engineer and a creator, and today I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorite applications that make my life as a runner easier and more productive. Let's start. Every runner at any level can have days or weeks or even months of low motivation. But there are a few tricks that I use when my motivation is very low to find running easier and funnier. And those are the 5 apps that I'm going to share with you today. Let's start. Number 1 application is Garmin Connect. Garmin Connect is my first love. When I started running a few years ago, I downloaded the application and I started making friends and share my activities with them. Since then, I use it as a collection of my activities. Here is how I use it. For example, today I got an activity, so I can go and check which was my path, my pace. I can go deeper into the laps. I have some charts that are giving me some useful information about my run. I also like to go into the performance because, sometimes your training is going down and it's going up, and I like to check how my VO2 max is performing. Especially I like to have a look at the last 6 months, and as you can see right now, my training hasn't been very consistent. In fact, there are hills in this chart. Another nice feature that I like of Garmin Connect is the gears. So here is where I track all my shoes. I like to keep my shoes at around 650k, then I like to donate to other people. And here is where I track all my shoes. I also like from here to set up some training, like especially when I travel or if I go somewhere where I don't have any distance track, I don't have distance where to run. I like to set up here my workouts, so I can create workouts like, the warm up, the cool down, and then I can put some repetition or intervals in it. And this is my first application. Number 2 application is STRAVA. STRAVA is the social network for runners. I really love it. Here is where I make much more friends than Garmin Connect. All the activities are in because there is a connection with Garmin Connect. And here is where I give kudos, I receive kudos, I put comments, I share my pictures. Again, I like to use it also for tracking my profile. You can see that my last 12 weeks training hasn't been very good, but it will change soon. And if you follow me, you'll notice that. I also like to keep an eye on my training status. So for example, I can see how I am performing this week compared to my goal that I've set up. I've set up 80k run for this week. Let's see if I can make it. Then I have monthly activities, and I can see that this month is going a little bit better than the past. And what I really like is the training log. Here you can see all the runs I've done and activities. Different colors means different workouts. Maybe if you do a long run or if you do like some repetition, you come here and you can have a quick eye on how it's going on. And this is how I use Strava. The third application is VDOT calculator. This is a very cool application that I use for giving advice of my training pace. So let's assume you recently ran a 10k and your overall time was 40 minutes. This is not only telling you that of course the pace was 4 minutes per k, which is kind of obvious, but it's giving you all the paces you should run when you train. So for example, you can see that your easy run should be done at 4:57 and 5:28 per k. Your marathon pace is probably 4:22, the threshold is 4:07, interval is 3:47. So those are in k, but of course you have all the number in miles. You can also dream a little bit, because if you click on the equivalent tab, you see that because you run the 10k, your value on a marathon is 3:04:42. So this doesn't mean that if you run a marathon tomorrow, your finishing time will be 3:04, but it works. If you start training for 14, 15, 16 weeks following these paces, then your marathon will be like that. It worked on me. I did it a couple of marathons. I use it running and training with these paces, and I can assure you that work. Another interesting feature is, especially in summer when temperatures get very high, and here in Rome around July and August, the temperature can hit the 40 degrees Celsius. So it's very hard to train following your pace. So you can adjust your training pace based on temperature. So if you go in advanced and you set up the temperature to be, for example, 40 degrees Celsius, then all the training is going to take account of the temperature. So for example, you can see that now your marathon pace, it's around 440, which is not 422 as before. It sounds a little bit weird, but I can promise it works. I trained myself for the Berlin Marathon and Chicago Marathon. Both are full marathons, so you need to train like June, July, and August and September. And you cannot really have the same pace that you have in winter. So I follow these rules and it works. So the day that then you show up at the marathon and the temperature is very cool and fresh, you'll feel completely prepared and different. Let's give it a try. Number 4 application is MyFitnessPal. So this is all about nutrition. So if you want to lose some weight, or if you want to simply keep track of all the food and the calories that you are consuming and burning, that's the application to go. I really like it. It's connected with my STRAVA and Garmin Connect. So every time I go out for an activities, it knows the calorie that I burn. And then you can also start adding food. By coming here, you can add all the food you want. For example, if breakfast, you get some egg. At the beginning, it sounds a bit boring, so you might think, oh, I'm not going to put all the food during the day. But when you start doing it, you realize that our body like routine, we eat pretty much all the same thing. So it keeps track of the history and is going to show you and even suggest you all the meal that you have done the day before or the week before or the month before. So it's very, very, very useful. Give it a try. And the 5th application is podcast. Podcast is not really a running application, but I really like to go running, especially for my easy run and long run, listening a good podcast. I started listening at 1.5 speed, sometimes 2, especially the one in my native language, but if they're in English, 1.5 it's pretty good. Right now I'm listening Start Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, but there are really hundreds of podcasts for runners or history. It's good to, relax a little bit, chill out, but at the same time keep your brain working in the background. Great, I hope you love the 5 applications that I use. Give it a try and stay tuned. Ciao, ciao.